Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrath Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Sahab, Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Wednesday, the 26th of Rabiul Akhir, 1446, 30th of October 2024. This Majlis took place before the Zohr Salat at Madrasa Falahidarain, Tarkesar, Surat, Gujarat, India. Hazrat Wala starts off this Majlis by reading Suratul Ikhlas. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. Dosto, Buzurgo, Azizo, friends, elders and most dearest ones. It is the grace of Allah, I understand it this way, and I make shukr to Him that He's granted me the opportunity over and over again to present myself here. It is your grand favor to me that you given me the opportunity to participate in this majlis and this gathering as well. It is no simple thing for me to come here. You know, when the Quran Majid is recited here by the students, it brings great happiness to me. Rather, I achieve much pleasure by it. And when I go back home also, I relate to the people and I try to give them some idea of how it is this side here. So many places there is less importance attached. Here there is much greater importance attached, and I understand this year to be a great fortune for me. Rather, I take it from the genuine fortunes of a person here in this dunya where he participates in such type of majalis. Now, that is sa'adat, sa'adat, sa'adat haqiqiyya, and then in front of me I have all people who are sa'id and who are greatly fortunate. This silsila and this chain of the delivering of majalis, etc., Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep it continuous, and it is for the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we gather here. And the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the leader of all types of speech. The people this side here have much proficiency in tajweed and tartil of the Quran Majid. Allah Ta'ala increase in this year and grant advancement as well. There is so much of ronak in the deen and in the dunya. I see there is much ronak and light in the deen, and I understand here uns and a great type of closeness and affinity on the nisbat and with the relationship of the Quran people that gather here. You know, ijtima'at and gatherings, they can be many, and there are many. People gather for different worldly motives. Here we are gathering on a dini note. The waqia of Hazrat Tanvi rahimahullah, that on one occasion he went to Rangoon or one of the other places. A student was asked to recite. He recited, and then they asked Hazrat Tanvi to then deliver his spiritual discourse, his majlis. Hazrat Tanvi at that time was so overwhelmed by the recitation of the Quran Majid, and he even went on to say that I am unable to recite. The recitation of the Quran had such a profound effect on me, I am unable now to deliver my majlis. For me to say that mujhe dar lagta hai, I actually feel scared, but some amount of athar I perceive. And Allah Ta'ala make this athar the means of His pleasure. So here, عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من أكل طيبا وعمل في سنة وأمن الناس بوائقه دخل الجنة. فقال رجل يا رسول الله إن هذا اليوم لكثير في الناس. قال سيكون في قرون بعدي. So our Hazrat Wala is saying that Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to speak much about Jannah and Jahannam. And he would go on to say that make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for admission into Jannah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-Jannah wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin aw amal wa na'udhu bika min an-nar wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin aw amal. Further he would go on to say at least ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once daily to grant you admission into Jannah. Even Jannah would become happy. Allah ta'ala bless us with every type of afiyat. And the greatest type of afiyat would actually be at that time there, when a person will be granted admission into Jannah. On one occasion, someone asked a certain Buzruk about how he is keeping. Mizaj acha hai Hazrat? How are you keeping? So he says, are you asking me that now? Don't ask me that now. Rather, when the announcement is made that I may enter into Jannah, at that time you may ask. Because up till then, I'm absolutely restless. So, the mention of Jannah and Jahannam is mentioned abundantly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. And the a'mal, the deeds of both those people, those who will enter into Jannah are mentioned, and those who would enter into Jahannam. So this mention of Jannah and Jahannam, this is the genuine wa'az and admonition, the genuine nasihat. Jannah is mentioned so much that eagerness is created in the heart of a person, that he would start now making efforts in that direction. And so much mention of Jahannam is made that a person's heart is overwhelmed with fear that he doesn't go in that direction. On one occasion, Hazrat Maulana Abdul Majid Daryabadi asked Hazrat Tanvi that, Hazrat, Jannah and Jahannam is mentioned abundantly in the Quran. Jannah and Jahannam is mentioned abundantly in the Quran. But the ulama don't speak about it. Hazrat Tanvi then answered that, yes, what you're saying is totally correct. On one occasion, Hazrat Maulana Ali Mia came to Allahabad, and at that time he was preparing for his Jalsa, the Jalsa Islahul Muslimin, and he posed the question to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib that what should I speak about? Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib went on to say that speak about Jannah and speak about Jahannam. So he said, Hazrat, but I don't have subject matter on this topic. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib, who was a Jayyid Hafiz of Al-Quran, so I was saying that Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib stood up, and then he went to the cupboard and he took out those kitabs. He was Jayyid Hafiz of Al-Quran, and he took out all those verses and he presented it to Hazrat Maulana Ali Mian Sahab. I actually accompanied him and went to that majlis, and he opened up and started speaking on this mazmoon of Jannah and Jahannam. So here in this particular hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, Man akala tayyiban, the person who eats halal, the person who eats tayyib, wholesome, it is halal and it is wholesome, it will be mujib thamarat. So the person who eats halal, it is mujib thamarat. It will lead a person, to carry out good deeds. Otherwise, if a person eats haram, darkness comes into his heart. It is for this reason that the Buzrugan Deen were very, very meticulous about halal food. وَعَمِلَ فِي سُنَّةٍ, and he carries out his entire life according to sunnah. Now we're speaking about eating halal. We should eat halal. One morsel of haram takes such type of barakat away from us. Now Hazrat Tanvi, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, they emphasize so much on akle tayyib, eating halal. When a person eats halal, he will be given the tawfiq of making zikr. So وَعَمِلَ فِي سُنَّةٍ, he carries out sunnah. And the last part there, وَأَمِنَ النَّاسُ بَوَائِقَهُ, and people are safe from his harm. دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ, will enter Jannah. So a person may be eating halal, and when he eats halal, he will get tawfiq and hidayat to carry out sunnah. But even that is not enough. He will need to make sure that people are safe from his destruction or his evil or his harm. At that time, he will become worthy of entering into Jannah. There is a famous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. The Muslim is the true Muslim, genuine Muslim is the one who others are safe, other Muslimin are safe from the evil of his tongue and his hands. Sometimes, many times it happens like this. A person is reading so much of awrad and wazaif. However, people are not safe from the evil of his hand and his tongue. Now this here is necessary for one and all. Like how it is necessary for the laity, it is also necessary for the alim. Now Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and hidayat of taking effect from this. Idhar dekha, udhar dekha, ise dekha, use dekha. Yaar ko aghyar nahi dekha, to kya dekha? So you look this way and you look that way. You looked at this one and you looked that one. You looked at that one. But amongst all those things, you did not see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then actually tell me, what did you see? What did you see? You came into this dunya, you saw everything, but you did not see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, a person, he spends his time in ghaflat. So when he goes and he reaches there will be nothing for him other than that of afsos. Other than that of afsos and regret. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to fear a lot. He was such a great personality, but he would make wudu, be so particular in his wudu. He would be so particular when it came to his salat. He was so particular of reading his salat with jama'at at that old age also. And then he would say, come, take me to the masjid, when we would say to him that there is still time, taking into consideration his health, he would go on to say, look at his thirst, that these people are preventing me from going to the masjid. You know, people complain and they say that my heart is not feeling like reading salat. But why don't we go early to the masjid? If we go early and we sit in the masjid, we carry out some zikr, see the amount of peace that you will achieve. You will achieve. So, man akala tayyiban, the one who eats halal, wa amila ji. So when he eats food, eating itself is an ibadat. You make the niyat of taqawwi lil ibadat. I am eating so that I can get strength to carry out the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we eat also, we eat according to sunnah. We make niyat. Niyatul mu'min khayrum min amali. The intention of a believer is even greater than his deed. The intention of a believer is even greater than the deed itself. So, which person will actually go into Jannah by means of his actions? But niyyah is very, very great. Miyare ikar barseh shay ast, kitabullah wa sunnat rasul wa sirat salaf. The foundation of this work of ours is based on three: the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Sirah, and the practical life of the Salafus Salihin. So I heard this here from Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, and this is what I am making bayan to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of walking this path. We will all have to walk this path. So this tariq and tariq haq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of adopting it. You know, just abandoning one sunnah was so difficult on the pious predecessors. When it is like this year, it is then. And that's the time when we will get true success. कामयाबी तो काम से होगी, न के हुस्न कलाम से होगी, जिक्र के इल्तिजाम से होगी, फिक्र के ihtimam से होगी. Success will come when we do something, when we have to do something in this path, not just by sweet talks. Rather, it will come when a person is continuous with his zikr and he has fikr for his islah. Now in this one share, this is what I know. I'm relating it to you. The entire of tariq in this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in this. But we have to make mehnat for it. You know, it used to be the day of Jum'ah. On that day, we used to go home about 2 kilometers, 2 miles away. At that time we were in Fatehpur. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, the ulama used to come on that day for Majlis. And he mentioned to us, to myself and Karimuddin Sahab, he said that on the day of Jummah, all the ulama come, I give Majlis, and you people go home. It was from that day onwards that we never ever went home after that. The entire week we used to be studying. We used to just have that one day to go home. But we never went home after that again. But what to do when a person doesn't have munasabat? He doesn't have affinity with this year, then he doesn't even come to sit and listen. When he doesn't sit and listen, how will he even understand anything? So we have to create this affinity and this enthusiasm within us to come and listen. And if we can't and we don't find this type of enthusiasm and affinity, then we should make dua. Allahumma inna nas'aluka at-tawfiq limahabbika min al-a'mal wa sidqa at-tawakkul alayk wa husna az-zanni bik. Oh Allah, we ask you for inspiration for those actions which are most beloved to you. Allahu Akbar. O Allah, we ask you for tawfiq and hidayat to do those actions which are most beloved to you. وَصِدْقَ التَّوَكُّلِ عَلَيْكَ. So we ask Allah for tawfiq and hidayat. And then we do those actions. But after that, remember, ask Allah for trust. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawakkul, because those actions will not be able to let you enter into Jannah. You have to put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَحُسْنَ الظَّنِّ بِكَ. And O Allah, bless us with that good thought of you, husn zan of you, that if Allah ta'ala wants, it is only then that it will happen. Allahumma ftah li abwab rahmatik. O Allah, open the doors of your mercy for us. When Allah ta'ala wishes it, it is only then that it will come to pass. Now we are coming to the end of our lives. And even now, if we don't have fikr for the akhirat, then most definitely it is something to grieve and regret over. Kamyabi to kaam se hogi. If you want success, you would have to do something. Na ke husne kalam se hogi. Zikr ke iltizam se hogi, fikr ke ihtimam se hogi. You will have to be consistent, continuous in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you should have fikr for your islah. We were still in our student days, and already from that time in Arabi Awal, Arabi Dome, I have been reading Bara Tasbih. And this year is already from the time of Hazrat Tanvi rahimahullah. But how many people even read? You know, people would say, but others say that zikr is not for a student. He should concentrate on his studies, this, that and the other. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, he was a mujaddid in his own right. In his own right. But he would go on to say that I disagree with that. And a student already during his student days, he should carry out the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should carry out the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after the Maghrib Salat. If Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib's daughters would be there at home, when he would see us there in the courtyard or in the masjid area or the khanqa carrying out the zikr, he would mention to his daughters what such type of delight and pleasure. That look at these people, look at them, they're carrying out the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On one occasion, he said to us, I'm going to take your exams. And we were studying our kitabs. There were seniors there also. And they also all started studying. And thereafter, from masjid to the courtyard, to the khanqa, to his house, he carried on noticing us and monitoring us closely. And then, after some time, he comes to us and he says, I've been watching you people all this time. You studying and you studying and you studying. But in all this time, I didn't see one person carrying out the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what is it? We should make this part and parcel of our madaris so that barakat and fuyuz can come. So the Buzurgan-e-Deen have taught us this. And we should continue with this year. You know, this is mashhoor that talaba should not make zikr. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab says, I do not accept that, but rather I feel that students should make the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, you're doing your kitabs, you're doing this, but what all of that, you should have your zikr as well. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to make so much of mehnat. He used to make so much of mehnat on us, and he used to attach so much of importance to the ta'aleem as well. Not that there was any deficiency in that. So this was the tariq of the mashayikh. When Hazrat Maulana Rashid Ahmad went to Hazrat Maulana Haji Imdadullah Sahab, and that day there, the first day at the time of the Tahajjud, when he was making the dhikr of Allah, Hazrat Haji Imdadullah became so delighted, and he even remarked that Rashid Ahmad, it seems as if you are Purana. You have been making zikr for such a long time. So here, look at this nuskha. Dukhul Jannat ke a'mal. The a'mal which leads a person and grants him entry into Jannah. Man akala tayyiban, a person who eats halal, wa amila fi sunnatin, and he does his every amal according to the sunnah. He's sitting, he's standing, he's eating, he's sleeping, he's waking up. He tries to be and carry it out according to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَأَمِنَ النَّاسُ بَوَائِقَهُ, and people are safe from his evil. دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ, such a person will enter into Jannah. Now look at this prescription. The Hakims also write out prescriptions. This is the prescription of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for entry into Jannah. You know, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to mention about one of his satis and one of his colleagues from student days. And he would say to us that he was so meticulous. He would not go anywhere, leave. We're not talking about haram. We're speaking about just that which had maybe some slight type of doubt in it. He would not eat that doubtful food. But what was it? He was trying to emphasize on our minds of akli halal. So when we eat tayyib and halal, what's the end result of it? Nur is created. When there is mashkook food that is eaten, then zulmat and darkness comes with it. When we eat halal food, then we get the tawfiq and the hidayat of carrying out zikr and shaghal, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spiritual exercises. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib, I didn't learn this here, but he said it so many times and I heard it over and over again. Mi'yar-e ikar, barseh ast. The foundation of this khanqa of ours is based on three. Kitabullah, wa sunnat Rasul, wa sirat salaf. It is the Quran and it is the Hadith. But he would emphasize so much on this that listen, see what's written here. It's not only written in Quran and Hadith. And if you truly want to understand and practice on Quran and Hadith, you will definitely have to look how the pious predecessors lived Quran and Hadith. Their eating, their sleeping, their standing, their sitting was all according to the Sunnah. They understood how to live it and practice on that Quran and Sunnah. So here the madaris, these are the occasions and the places of zikr and shaghal. Now here, so much intizam the madrasa has made for all of this year. The madrasa is not only restricted to alif, ba, ta, rather it is ilm together with amal, knowledge and action as well, making amal on what you learned. Zikr as well. Pabandi with zikr. Mi'yar-e ikar, barseh ast. Kitabullah wa sunnat Rasul wa sirat salaf. At least you learned this. Addressing someone there right in front there. At least you learned this here. Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of walking the path of our pious and saintly predecessors. This place is a place of saintly people, the Buzurgan-e-Din, the Akabir. For many days I have been coming here as well. And Allah Ta'ala let me benefit from it as well and my family in the true sense. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala let the madrasa continue and run together with ilm-e-deen and suluk. Let us make dua. Allahumma aslih lana sha'nana kullah. Allahumma allif bayna qulubina wa aslih dhata baynina واهدنا سبل السلام ونجنا من الظلمات إلى النور وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن وبارك لنا في أسماعنا وأبصارنا وقلوبنا وأزواجنا وذرياتنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Allah Ta'ala make our islah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.